So, hey guys, today we're going to be talking about how the tutorial kind of sucks. So, I actually have a notepad full of everything they actually teach you in the first tutorial. So, I'll just go over a few things. So, the first thing they tell you is that you can only summon once per turn, which is not really correct because you can still special summon after you normal summon, and it's not clear because it doesn't mention normal summon, it just says you can only summon, I believe. Well, it's in my notes, so maybe my notes aren't good, but whatever. Tribute summon. It teaches you something about tribute summoning. Battle positions. It probably doesn't teach you in detail. That's the assumption. Summon monster attack. Monsters attack bigger, more damage. Well, that's pretty basic, I guess. Monsters can destroy lower attack monsters by battle. Doesn't really mention same attack monsters, I guess. You can activate spells. Uh, you just can activate them, I guess. That's all it tells you about them, but it probably doesn't teach you things like, for example, Raigeki can't be activated if your opponent controls no cards for you to Raigeki, I guess. Traps need to be set for one turn to activate. It mentions that briefly, I guess. And yeah, we'll stop there. It goes on for quite a while longer. But yeah, the only thing useful so far, I think, I've seen is traps need to be set for one turn to activate. Except that they can also activate in the graveyard now sometimes as well, which makes it even more inconvenient to teach, like with Orcus Crescendo. So many things we could say about Crescendo, but I'll close my notes for now. But yeah, what do you guys think is actually the first thing that's the most important to teach in regards to Yu-Gi-Oh? I think personally that's going to be problem-solving card text, because you're not even going to be able to read your cards, so you're not going to be able to tell what effects do or how to activate them or anything like that. So, for example, here, target one face-up monster on the field. So there's a semicolon here, right? So things that happen before semicolons, um, on the card text here, they must happen. And if they don't happen, then you can't activate the card if they cannot be done. But if you activate the card, whatever the cost is, it must immediately be paid and it must immediately be kind of done. And things before semicolon, you can just consider them costs, right? Change that target to face down defense position is the effect, and if there is a semicolon, that means the effect starts a chain. And some older cards won't be formatted like this because they're old. So yeah, they don't have the proper text, which makes it a little bit confusing. I don't remember exactly which cards are like this, but yeah, there's some old cards with crusty text, like what was that one that was really bad? It was something like fuse your two decks together and make a new deck. I think that was maybe something to do with like a penguin card or something. Which I think it just means you're supposed to cut the deck or something, and then shuffle your deck, kind of, I guess. And that's all that wants from you, I guess. But yeah, a lot of things do not get taught to you properly. Solving card text being one of them. But yeah, another one would be, I guess, the fact that every time a card is searched, it's going to actually change your deck order. Because technically every time you perform a search, the deck order is going to be changed. Or if you do anything that kind of messes with the main deck, usually your deck will be shuffled afterwards. So let's showcase why this could be important. So let's say we have, I don't know, let's say we have something like Kashtira Ogre activating. This is going to look at your top 5 and be able to kind of rig it So it's kind of terrible. So let's say your next 5 cards are going to be like, I don't know, we'll just say Water Element, Stone Ogre Grotto. And then they see like, I don't know, let's go with Snake Eye Flamberge, Original Sinful, and then Subversion in this order. Sure. So we're just going to banish one of these two, and you're just going to draw into, I guess, Stone Ogre Grotto, right? That's what you would draw for turn, unless you were to do any of the actions I listed before. So if you were to add a card from your deck to your hand, so for example, if for some reason we were playing mouse cards in this horrendous pile, we could then activate March Hare, banishing White Rabbit, to then set MTP07, and then this will banish probably the March Hare, and then this will search a card, and then it will scramble the order of your deck because it gets shuffled. Because MTP07 here searches a card. Right here, add a mouse monster from your deck to your hand, and that would do it. Or if later on in the turn we were to activate Sideframe Gear Gamma, this special summons a Sideframe Driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So if you specifically summon from the deck, that will also cause your deck to be shuffled. Specifically because this is a simulator, you won't need to actually shuffle and it's instantaneous. But yeah, your deck gets shuffled just constantly because of this. And this allows you to play around like, well, if you know about it, this allows you to play around like certain deck stacking kind of cards sometimes, right? So for example, this might be useful if I'm playing against, I don't know, let's say Spiral, which they might need to reveal the top card of our deck to activate some effects. Notably, this one, we have Spiral Gear Drone. This has the effect here to look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and if you do, place them on top of their deck in any order. But then if I were to activate an effect afterwards, they have to actually blind guess. So I mean, the deck still matters afterwards, but they won't have it guaranteed to be able to pick the right card off of whatever they need to activate. I don't remember which card it is, genuinely. But yeah. That would be an application of this, and it's not really clear and doesn't really teach you, I guess. And I don't know how much they mention about tribute summoning because I didn't put it in my notes. Like, how well does normal summoning work? It doesn't really go over like what you can normal summon, maybe, or maybe it does. So I'm not sure about that, so I won't give them any flack for that until well, if I do update my notes. I probably won't, but yeah. Then there is actually a lot we can talk about regarding special summoning, actually, and even normal summoning is pretty just mind-boggling. So if we go with this, this is the one of the most confusing cards I've ever seen when I was a newer player. So going to take a look at Blackwing Simoon, the Poison Wind. If you control no monsters and have this card in your hand, you can banish one other Blackwing monster from your hand as cost. So far so good. Place one Black Whirlwind from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone, then either send this card to the graveyard or immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon it without tributing. You cannot special summon after the extra deck for the rest of this turn except dark monsters. So this card was like super confusing for me because I think I must have skimmed it the first time I read it, so I was like insanely confused. But this places a Black Whirlwind from your deck, and then I didn't know what Black Whirlwind did because you didn't have related cards yet, so no idea what that did. And then this either sends this card to the graveyard or immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon it, but this didn't really have an effect aside from this one, so I was very confused about that as well. But yeah, you would then normal summon the Simoon here, which is really confusing for me because it's a level 6 monster and you didn't need to tribute for it. Which means, you know, if the effect wants to willy-nilly, I guess it doesn't care about tributing for the normal summon for whatever reason. Where if we were to go to, I don't know, let's say Fluanderies, also being kind of a wing beast kind of archetype, you would tribute summon this card. And in fact, if you did normal summon this without tributing, you wouldn't get this effect actually, oddly enough. And this effect only triggers on tribute summon as well. So if you were to just normal summon Empen without tribute summoning it, it wouldn't even work, oddly enough. So yeah, gotta learn to read that card text, I guess. But it's not as bad now in the sense that, like, before when you were dueling someone, you would have to awkwardly click on their card, read it, and go like, what targets does this have? And then you would have to like open up a new tab and then like kind of search up what does the card listed on other card do. You would have to find that, and then there might be other cards on that card as well. So your opponent is awkwardly waiting for like to see if you have a response to the card they're trying to resolve, but you're just like tapped out, and you have to click in to your game or click or move your mouse or something to prevent it from like timing out because you're not responding, and it does the thing, right? But yeah, extraordinarily awkward. But now it's a little bit better in terms of being able to like click on the related cards kind of in game and then being able to look through. So for example, here with Simoon, it mentions Black Feather Whirlwind, which is a spell here. Or not Black Feather Whirlwind, it's Black Whirlwind. Black Feather Whirlwind is this card. But yeah, you click on that and then you can see this. And then you're solid, I guess. Cool. So, insane amounts of just confusing things, I guess. But yeah. Another important thing that they never really mention is like, let's see, what's everyone's, I guess, favorite extra deck monster? I guess maybe Baron. Lots of people love Baron, I guess. So if we have Baron to floor, there's a lot of weird, funky stuff relating to just extra deck monsters in general that isn't actually really covered. So for example, if we were to special summon Baron de Fleur, and then our opponent were to destroy the Baron de Fleur by battle, can we Monster Reborn Baron de Fleur? Now, if you notice the wording I used, I said special summon, but I never specified synchro summon. Well, the reason I did that is because, well, if we were to quote-unquote special summon Baron de Fleur, but not synchro summon Baron de Fleur, it is not considered properly summoned. And a card being properly summoned, it like varies sometimes, and it's like confusing. But we'll get more into that in a second. With a Baron de Fleur, if we were to quote-unquote special summon it with like, we'll say Waking the Dragon, there's no like condition preventing us from directly special summoning Baron de Fleur with a card effect. So if we were to have Waking the Dragon get popped by our opponent's field, then special summon Baron de Fleur, then Baron de Fleur is considered not properly summoned. But if we use a tuner plus one non-tuner monsters, that will count as a synchro summon when we send them off the field for like the Baron de Fleur. Meaning that if we summoned it off of Waking the Dragon, we cannot Monster Reborn the Baron de Fleur. If we just directly send Baron de Fleur from the extra deck to the graveyard, we also cannot Monster Reborn Baron de Fleur. But if we were to quote-unquote properly summon it or synchro summon it, that would allow us to summon Baron de Fleur from the graveyard or banished, I guess, because banish pile technically works also. But then there's actually another layer on this. So if we were to go to like the Pearly cards, for example, and then we read Current Lily, it says this is treated as an XYZ summon, meaning you can Monster Reborn these extra deck monsters when you summon them with the Pearly kind of effects, because it does count as an XYZ summon. And then there's some archetypes where cards would not count as properly summoned in some instances, and yeah, that does matter occasionally. Like, I guess, for example, we could go with Malice as an example of this, where if you were to summon one of your Malice extra deck monsters with TB11, because you have the option right here, as you can see, Malice Link monster from your extra deck instead. Yeah, you can summon this, and it has no effect. And if you were to banish any of these cards, well, we can just read this in general. If this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon it. Then you can draw one card. So the first action is special summon. So this is absolutely mandatory. And because it is mandatory, if you cannot special summon the card, you can't activate the effect at all, I guess. So on all of these cards, it should label special summon first. And because it does, right here as well, um, if you were to summon them with TB11 and then banish any of these three, they would not be able to activate at all. Which is, well, their banished effect anyway would not be able to activate. And also, I guess their on-field effect wouldn't activate, so there's that. But then there's actually another category of this that is like really funky. So if we go to like Thunder Dragon, yep. We have Thunder Dragon Colossus, which has really jank text, which confused the crap out of me for a long time. So I'll just explain this real quick. This says it must be either fusion summoned or special summoned during the turn a Thunder monster's effect was activated in the hand by attributing one Thunder effect non-fusion monster, in which case you do not use polymerization. So with the specific wording for this, this can be fusion summoned, so you can use a Thunder Dragon monster plus any Thunder monster, or you can special summon this after you used a Thunder monster's effect in the hand, and you can distribute any Thunder effect monster, as long as it is not a fusion monster. So the odd thing about this was that, well, for me at least, is that you could not monster reborn Thunder Dragon Colossus, and I always never fusion summoned it. I would always kind of do the other effect to summon this, but despite this being a quote-unquote special summon and not a fusion summon, right? This is actually still properly special summoning Thunder Dragon Colossus, but the thing is it says must be either. So it's saying you can only summon it using these two methods and no other method, including like a Monster Reborn. And that was the one confusing thing about Colossus. So with fusion monsters, you can just properly meet their contact fusion requirements, and that would count as being properly summoned, or just fusion summoning it. If you fusion summon a fusion monster, it should always count as really summoned. Then there are like some cards that can kind of cheat out fusion monsters and such. Like, I guess we'll say Cyberstein, where that specifically special summons a monster from your extra deck, which completely cheats it out, and it does not count as being properly summoned. But with like Thunder Dragon Colossus, you just can't Monster Reborn it ever. That's all there is to this card. But if we were go to the ninja cards, they actually have a method of contact fusion where it says this must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing the above cards you control. So it's just two ninja monsters with different types, and if you do so, you can reborn Maizen later with, I don't know, just whatever effect you have, or Yaguru Maru. Specifically, the card that reborns these guys would be, let's see, Kagero the Cannon Ninja, with the effect here of you can special summon a ninja monster from your hand or graveyard in face down defense position, except for Kagero the Cannon Ninja, allowing you to kind of monster reborn Maizen. And then there was also one other card, I believe it was the whip spell right here, Iron Digger. This card is sent from the field to the graveyard. You can target one of your banished ninja monsters, add to your hand, or special summon it in face down defense position. So both of those effects will be able to actually reborn your ninja cards, despite you quote unquote never performing a actual fusion summon. This is kind of like a contact fusion, which still I guess counts as being properly summoned. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.